everybody. I officially opened the meeting. Let's do roll call attendance. I'll just go across my screen. Irene Costello,
Here.
Sharon Parsons,
Here.
Courtney Meyer.
He's muted.
She must have stepped away for a second. And I, Diana West, am here. All right, we'll wait for Courtney to come back to approve the minutes. Oh, Courtney.
Actually, I can't approve the minutes because I wasn't at the last meeting.
That's okay. You still count towards the quorum.
Okay.
All right, Courtney is here. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from February 25th?
Yes.
Do I have a second? I guess I have to second. All right. Any corrections, additions? All right, roll call vote. Irene?
Aye.
Sharon is abstaining. Courtney?
Aye.
And I, Diane West, vote aye. All right, motion carries. Wonderful. All right, next up is the Preservation Plan Summary Date Review. Chris is here. Thank you for joining us.
Sure.
If you have not yet uploaded your house survey info into the spreadsheet, please do so. If you're worried about messing up the spreadsheet, put it in the folder and I can update it for you. Does anybody have any feedback from the day that occurred to them later that they would like to share?
I thought it was a great day, and thank you, Chris.
I agree. I thought it was a great day too. It gave a lot of food for thought. In fact, we had a CPC meeting last night, and the Cook house, which Hooker lived in after his house burned, while they were rebuilding his house, that Cook house, the family is going for their APR, and they plan on using the money to renovate that house, which was built in 1794. Because the house is not included in the APR, we have no control over that. It's in terms of how they go about renovating it. So I thought I would bring that up because that might be a good place to start in terms of what we're thinking about.
Is that 3 West Street?
That is, no, it's
West?
Middle Street. The Tolper home is on Middle Street.
Oh, okay.
It's the Tolper Family Trust. The
Oh,
Cook
okay.
family originally owned the house, and it's on It's at 8 Middle Street.
Okay. Because we also have a Cook house on West Street.
Oh, there are plenty. There's one on Bay Road too. There are plenty.
Yeah, it's a big house, right? It's a sort of a big house, and it's kind of falling. Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's fallen into disrepair.
Yeah. Good. I mean, not
Good.
good that it's falling into disrepair.
Yeah. No, just since they're planning on renovating it, maybe a place to start.
Are they new owners? No, they're not new owners because it's
No. One of the family members is still living it. There are 8 family members that signed off on the APR that are each getting a chunk, I imagine. Because it's a trust.
What's the address again?
8 Middle Street.
8 Middle Street. Okay. Okay.
All right, anything else?
Well, I loved how at the end, like the ideas started going about, forming partnerships, and it was so great to have, was it Andy and Alan? Yeah. Oh, that kind of juiced things up a little bit. And the partnership, the idea of a preservation award and fundraising and working with the historical society, that was some very good momentum towards the end. It's a lot of work, but I didn't quite see what the connecting the dots until I had a eureka moment afterwards. I was like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's great. So
yeah, I thought the day had great energy. I finished feeling good about Hadley in general. Felt really good about the whole thing.
Well, on that note, Chris, what are our next steps?
I'm going to get you a draft. It might happen this week, so I'll get you the first draft. Depending on how my schedule goes this week, I'll get you that this week or very soon after. And then there's going to be some gaps in there that I'd like you to think about some more, give some feedback. I could use a lot more photos too to kind of fill it
Mhm.
out. Um,
Photos of what, Chris?
just kind of everything in all the all various historic resources in Hadley, whether it's agricultural land or buildings or outbuildings.
Do you want current photos or do you want historical photos?
Mostly current photos,
Okay.
but I think having some historic photos in there is great too.
Well, part of my going around to the streets I had assigned was I photographed the properties.
Okay.
So would that be something you'd want to see?
Yeah, you can send which ones you think would work well in a document. So just some high quality photos, the ones that stand out. Sure, send them my way.
Okay.
I also have all the photos of West Street, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did not take photos because Bay Road was a
Oh, you
lot
can't
of
do that.
houses.
Yeah.
And I was thinking as I was coming down Bay Road a couple days ago that I really need to get on my bicycle and start at one end and photograph them each. And then maybe it'll be easier to sort them based on Macros, because I was able to figure out street numbers to a certain point, and then I got to a certain point, and you'll see that if you look at what I put into the folder. I'm just not sure which number is which at this point. So I need more time to do more of that. I mean, I spent hours and hours as it was. And a lot of the pictures you can get on Zillow.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think of that.
All right, so
And
our
also their
homework-
shape, what they're in too. Zillow will also tell you what kind of shape they are in
Mhm.
some, yeah, or one of the other real estate agents that has pictures of it on when you put the address in.
So Chris, when you send us the draft, will it be obvious where you want pictures, or should we just start collecting?
Yeah, fairly obvious. I have actually some spots blocked off where they would go, but it's a flexible document, so they could go other places as well. So yeah, I'll keep you busy. So would you want to read it first, Diana? Do I have I don't know if I have everybody's email. Should I should
You
send
can send
to
it to me and I can distribute it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, anything else we just talk about for the preservation plan summary day?
So should we send you the pictures now, or should we send them to you after we see the first draft?
If you have time to send them in the next day or two, sure, that'd be great.
Okay.
Also, feel free to use the Google Drive, you guys, if that's an easier way to send
Yeah.
pictures over.
I
Leave-
have organized by street, like East and Middle Street, were the bulk of them.
Mhm.
And then I'm pretty sure definitely on Middle Street, I renamed the photo with the house number on the street.
Great.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen what I did for Mattapoisett with a survey plan, how all the photos going to go into a database. No, I could send you that. I can send you the link for that.
What
It's a
kind of
great- it
database?
works great for organizing various properties because you can uh, sort it any way you want, and the photos are attached to each record, so you have a photograph next to each bit of information about a building or house or landscape. And so it's just a nice easy way to look at a lot of different properties that way.
Yeah.
So you probably have it in an Excel spreadsheet right now.
Yeah.
Is that what you're using? Yeah. Yeah, this is nice just because you can attach a photo to each one and then print it out, and it prints out really nicely.
Is it a specific app or piece of software?
Yeah, I have a template that I use in Microsoft Access.
Uh,
That's my database that I use.
Okay.
But I can send you the PDF of how it came out to get a sense of what that would look like.
But if we wanted to use it, how would we set it up?
Well, I mean, you want to think about if you wanted to do anything like any survey planning with me in the future. That would be something that we could work on together.
Okay. I'm always looking for things. I'm in stores and taking pictures when I'm out and about in the marketplace, and I've never really found a good photo manager.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. And it's something in Access, Microsoft Access.
That's what I use. Yep.
Okay.
It seems to come with this like big Microsoft suite because I just looked it up on my computer and I have it through work. So
It does. It's a database.
Yep.
okay, anything else on this topic? All right, well, thank you so much for joining us, Chris, and we look forward to receiving the first draft.
Okay, great. I'll get it to you shortly.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Have a great night.
You too.
Bye. All right, chairperson transition. I was hoping Dragon would be here, but apparently she wasn't able to hop on. So first, I'm going to start with the good news in that virtual meetings have been extended through June 2027. So our deadline has been pushed out. But Courtney and Dragon agreed to take on the chairperson responsibilities. And I did ask if they wanted to do that now or wait until June. And Courtney said June. So we will hold an official vote when hopefully more of us are here. And we're closer to my time leaving. Also, Irene put together a welcome packet for us to use to welcome new members in the future. And I really appreciate that, Irene. It's really great. It's in the Google Drive. You guys can find it there. I can also send out a link to it. So when I do resign in June, you guys will be looking for somebody new, so you can test it out for the first time. Any questions?
I thought you were staying on still as a member, or are you just leaving completely?
I'm leaving in June.
Okay.
Maybe we could get somebody who's on who's part of the Historical Society to take your place so that we could kind of make some linkage between the Historical Society and us, especially since it was the Historical Society who did the plaques the last time. And I have another piece of information also that involves jobs for us. The new bylaws for the CPC are going to add that every committee who has a member on CPC should have an alternate. So the CPC is, so if you can't make it, you have to get you have to ask the alternate to make it. They have a hard time getting a quorum sometimes too, and they haven't since I've been on it, but apparently they do sometimes. So just
I remember I filled in for Denise, I think it was last year.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 2 years ago, whenever she went into labor. So I guess that was 2 years ago.
Yeah, it wasn't actually in the bylaws that you could do that, that we could do that. Now it's going to be officially in the CPC bylaws.
I'm going to ask a dumb question. Remind me what CPC is? Community
Preservation Committee.
Committee. Okay.
And they oversee CPA.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. And so that's Mary. Mary is on it.
Mary Thayer is the chairperson. Yep.
Is chair. Okay. Yeah.
And Sherry's our representative from Historical Commission.
Oh, okay, great.
Also, once Courtney takes over being chairperson, we will need a new clerk. So somebody to take the notes, the minutes. So just be thinking about that. Dragon did just text me. I think she's going to hop on in a second. Okay. All right. Old business, CPA projects. Courtney, update on the walking tour.
Yes, so I've gone through a couple hard copy proofs. Every time I go, there's something that needs to be adjusted. But they were able to find a certain type of paper that will allow the pictures to be more crisp and vibrant, which will be great. And with the money that we have, we were able to get, I can't remember the number, 300 something. No, not 300 something. That's not right. Oh, hang on, I gotta find
I
it.
want to say it was like 487. It was like very
Yeah, something
random.
like that.
I'm going to computer.
I check.
So there were two photos that showed up sort of like warped when I switched it to PDF. So they were working on trying to fix that from their end. And this week I should be signing off on it, hopefully. So
Yay!
I know, so
That's
exciting.
very exciting.
I'm trying to find that number. Oh, 762.
Oh, nice.
And they changed the book to a bound book instead of just like a pamphlet sort of thing. So it looks a lot more professional, which would be great.
Hi, Dragon.
Hi, sorry.
No, you're cool. Glad you're able to hop on. All right, Brianna is not here about the driving tour. I was going to ask her how we can help her finish this project.
Yeah.
So if anyone would like to offer to, I don't know what kind of assistance we can give, if that's making that connection to Hadley Media, if it's finding the second voice to do. I know we were still, I think, looking for a male presenting voice to do a couple parts. Haven't heard from her recently. I know she had a lot of illness going through the family. Hopefully that's getting better as we move into the spring. But I will reach out and see where we are with that. But if anybody is willing to help, let me know. Okay, house plaques, Irene.
Oh, okay. Did everybody have a chance to look at the slides that I
Yeah.
had updated?
I did.
So, I think where we are is first of all, Courtney, thank you for putting me in touch with Allison. She got back to me and she'd be delighted to help. So, that's really good. I'm at a point where I want to do the survey. I've got information. So let me just walk through this with you. If you, I can share my screen and
Go
we
for
can
it.
walk through it. Is that okay?
Yeah, definitely.
Share. Share. Can you see that?
Yep.
Yes.
You got it? Okay. So I updated this. I'm just continuing to build on the file, the slides that I had created already. So there's some duplication, but just the town research that went into it and some of the key findings about property tracing and what other towns were able to do as far as helping to research the historical nature of a home. These were examples of plaques from different towns. And what I liked about a lot of them is that we can have this be sponsored by the Hadley Historical Commission. And that's one decision we should make. I'm not crazy about the way the Wellesley did it, but I like it as sort of a footnote to the plaque. And they all seem to do it in different places, but my preference would be at the bottom. And just keep in mind, I'm not trying to make any decisions. I don't really feel like I've got the, even a qualified opinion on some of these things. So I really do need at some point before we take it out to a survey and start surveying residents of the town about whether they want to participate, we should at least have a pretty good idea of what the final product is going to look like. So it gets into the design elements. I am not a designer, but I can start organizing out and kind of thinking through the functional requirements of this. And so that's where I got this document up to that point where we can at least discuss or start deciding on some of these questions. And we don't have to do it now. But that's the point where I'm at if I can get some input from people and start making decisions. So the next one was the potential opportunity in Hadley. Also, given that so many of the houses have the older historic plaques going back to sometime after the bicentennial. But the last count I had in going through Macris and kind of parsing and reformatting and putting things into timeframes is about 583 homes or properties could qualify for being 100 years old or more. So that's about half the town. And that's a lot of homes. So how to reach them and how to survey them on their interest in this project is a question. I was able to get the assessor's database, so that was really good, and I can cross-reference the addresses in Macris to the addresses in the assessor's database. It was about, I'd say there are about 30% that came up with errors because the street numbers had changed, or something was different about the way that the naming of the street. I fixed some of it, like South Maple was SO Maple, and North Warner was N Warner. So those are the things that I found that were easy to fix. But there are several others, and I think they have to do with the changing of the street numbers. So I've got another way that I can look at fixing that. But regardless, that takes a lot of the manual work out of trying to figure out if we could do a mailer. Could the town mail it for us? So that's one question. Or in doing the survey, we could do put up a notice with a QR code for people to take, click on the QR code and take the survey. And we could do that on the Hadley site, the town website, the library website, the senior center website, the library, all the public sort of buildings
Domain.
and departments rather. So that's another way of targeting it. But we know that there are about 583 properties that qualify, and that's half the town. So do we want to even bother with the other half of the town that we know won't qualify? I'm not sure. I haven't figured out the best approach. So looking for some advice there.
So
Courtney, you had something to say?
yeah, when we were on the Russell School Committee, the town let us print out a third of a page document that notified people about the survey that we wanted them to fill out, and they put it into the water bill.
Okay, good.
So hopefully they'll be able to participate in that as well. If I recall, I think we had to pay for the printing, but they took care of like the assembly.
Okay. All right. So they stuffed the mailing and they put it into the water bills. And did you
But
get
then
a
we
good
also put
response?
flyers.
Did you
We
get a
got a really
response?
good response. Yeah, over 500 responses.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Good.
And then we put flyers up at all the public buildings and library and post office and
Okay, great. Good.
I don't think the town is going to only send it to the people who live in old houses. Like it's going to have to go to everybody. So we just need to be prepared for that.
If it's going out with the water bills, yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. So it's the same kind of thing then, as putting it out on social media then. It would be nice if we can just like laser focus on these 580, but if we can't, we can't. If we
I mean,
don't,
what we could do is try to focus on, what was it, 8 that were really old,
Mhm,
or like even the next, whatever it was, if you can go back up a slide.
mhm.
Yeah, like if we could do like that 31 and the 8, I think that could be reasonable if we wanted to like try to do bigger outreach, maybe contact them either like if we know who lives there. But otherwise, I think it's going to be sort of we're definitely not going to get all 583. But I think as we saw with the Veteran Banners project, like they got so many the first year, and then once people saw them and saw how great they were, they've now got X amount more now, I'm assuming. It's only the second year, I think. So I think once we get the momentum going,
Mhm.
we'll get more people in like the next iteration of it.
Okay. And just if you notice, I said they're greater than 100 years old after, or at 2026, because that is what is it? The Demi-Penta Centennial?
Semi-quincentennial.
Demi-quincentennial. Okay.
It rolls right off the tongue.
Demi-quincentennial. Okay.
Semi-quincentennial. I'll
Okay.
put it in the chat.
Okay. So there's the cutoff is 1926. So this is an example of Braintree's Historical Society went about its plaque program, and this was a flyer or a mailing that they sent out. So it's a good sort of example of something that we can modify to fit our needs. But it's the Historical Society, so there's a member pricing, and they have a photo or an image of what it would look like, and with the date and the name of a house, whatever detail can be there. This could be something that's very plain, like the ones that are up there now with just the date, or if there's something historically notable, that would be included too. So then there's the plaque program, the order form, and their payments are $75 for the plaque. I'm seeing more of like pricing for 100 to 125. And keep in mind, this was the, sorry, backing up. This was the first plaque program order form, and it was a mailer, triplicate or tripart folded mailing piece, and with examples on the back of what the plaque could look like. And it was pretty straightforward and simple. And it was only $15 back then. So times have changed.
The dream. Well, do we have any idea how much it's going to cost to produce these?
To produce it, I'm looking at anywhere from, I've seen pricing from 80 to 125. I've seen
Okay, wow.
it more than that, a lot more. And that just kind of got disregarded.
Mm-hmm.
So
Because
yeah, go ahead.
my guess would be that we're not trying to make money off of this, right? It would just be a straight informational kind of thing, or are we trying to like bring in money for, say, the Historical Society because we can't bring in revenue?
I had that we could clear $20 in my first round of
Okay.
finances. I didn't put it in here. I guess I didn't put it in here. Sorry.
Maybe you did. I didn't read this super close. I mainly looked at the last page.
No, I had it in the first one. Oh, it's right here. Assumptions. No, sorry. It got cut off. I'm sorry. Yeah, there was something in there that we could clear $20. But that would be making it a plaque of the, upwards to the 125 price. And I don't know. I don't know if people are going to go for it or not. So we'll have to find out. But I like this example. And one of the things we, can decide is, do we want the town seal on it? I think we're all kind of leaning toward it'd be nice to have the historical commission on it. This is pretty straightforward, the order form. This was straightforward back then. And so for discussion, can we decide on some of these now so I can move forward, or do we want to have more conversation? So why don't we just go through it, and if we can make a decision now, that's great, or if we want to table it and get a couple people to talk about it separately, that would be fine too. We don't have to take up time in this meeting. But I think including the historical commission, can we assume that that's, or agree that that's something we want to do?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, the shape can be rectangular, square, oval, or with an arch. Does anybody have a preference, or did you like any of the samples that were in the front?
I
Any of
like
these?
rectangle, but my thought also was perhaps an oval is more eye-catching because it's not as common.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of with the oval is that
John.
it would have to be a lot bigger if you wanted to have and some kind of a comment or
Mm,
identifier.
True.
It's fine for just a date, but then it gets, it can be this big.
I have to
That's
wonder
a
with
rectangle.
John Orne here, like that symbol on the top, is that like something specific to the Preservation Trust? Because like the one in the middle has the seal at the top, which kind of makes sense.
I kind of thought that this was sort of maybe something, it looks like a, what do you call those, leaded glass windows?
Yeah,
Victorian type of leaded glass windows that, may be prevalent up in Newburyport.
I'm Googling. Okay, yeah, it's like their logo.
It's the town logo?
No, it's the Preservation Trust's logo.
Oh, okay.
Oh. I don't see a need to have the town's seal on it simply because that town seal is not historic.
Okay.
It was designed in the late 1990s. Or maybe a little before. It was
Got
a
it.
contest for Hopkins Academy students to design it.
Mm. Yeah, I don't think it's necessary to include the town seal either.
Okay. Okay. So back down here. So this current size is 15 by 7 as a rectangle. One thing we could offer one or two variations of shapes depending on the letter count or the character count, or decide on one shape and everything is a uniform size and shape.
$15 by 7 is pretty big.
Yeah,
Mm.
I have one right here.
Just pulled out my ruler.
Oh, you can see that from a distance, but you won't have, will you have room for like the
No, it would have to
Reverend
be bigger.
house?
I think it would have to be bigger, more of a square. There's other ones that are like 16 by 18. It's more of a, still not a perfect square, but more of just a larger plaque size.
I think, Sherry, help me remember this. Does Terry Smith have a plaque on her house that
Yeah, just
says
a little rectangle.
Chester Smith in the year
Yeah.
or whatever name it is?
Yeah.
I wonder how
But I
big
don't
that
know.
is.
Yeah, I don't know if they put that up or if
I think
that was part of the Historical Society, because I've been watching around town and there are a lot of different designs and a lot of different shapes on some of them. So I'm thinking some of them were put up by the individual homeowners because I haven't seen them be consistent. There are a lot of the rectangles, which I know must have come from that previous sale by the Historical Society, but there have been many that were different.
Can you see these? These are some examples of the ones, the three on the right are bigger and look, they're very different from the ones that the Historical Society did.
Well,
I like
I've-
Hadley's oldest house, the Cook house, and then I forget what this is called.
Captain something. Captain something.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's Andy's house.
Yeah.
It would seem to me that instead of offering just one option, we might want to offer two options, one with just the date and
Mhm.
another with the name of the person who built the house. That, that might draw in more people, because for some people, the price might be a deterrent.
Mhm.
Good idea. And we'd also have to determine if we put who built the house or who lived in the house the longest, or who was
Yeah.
the most historical person who lived there.
I think we can I was reading one of the ones that Irene put on there, and I think all the possibilities were included.
Yeah.
It depended upon what most made the house significant.
Mhm.
Do we know what the lifetime is of hand painted wood?
Not
Well,
that
these have
great.
lasted 50 years already, and they're not in
Yeah.
bad shape.
Some of them,
So-
most of them. We have
Some
seen a
of them are
couple
in
that
bad
are
shape. I mean, I
rough.
did see some that were kind of failing, but you can keep them buffed and polished also. This was just sort of whitewash painted. But the one, I don't know how long the one on my house is, how old it is, but it's in pretty decent shape.
I used a
And
Sharpie to fix mine.
You what?
I used a Sharpie to fix mine.
Oh.
Yeah, it depends what they seal. Even they won't just put paint on. I think they would put a sealant on over the paint as well that would help them last longer.
Yeah, like a polyurethane.
Yeah.
or
Or well,
poly-
stronger than more like a marine urethane
Yeah.
used for stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what kind of material or the medium? I think I mentioned before the composite material, the PVC, which will stand up to weather and they'll last longer. But it's an historical marker, and do we really want to have something that's synthetic or, wood, good old fashioned wood? So that's a decision that's going to have to be made. And I think since this is an historical project, wood can be protected if we put a sealant on it.
Yeah, I would prefer wood myself.
Yeah. I kind of liked the one that had a black line around it, because as I was trying to catch them on different houses, most of the houses they were on were white. And when you have that white sign on the white house, it doesn't stand out as much as if it would if you had a black line around the edging, some kind of edging.
Yeah.
To make it stand out more.
Yeah.
Just my personal preference, but
No, I agree. The black lettering and and the trim.
black outline trim, yeah.
Do we want to help people if they don't know anything about their homes? Or do we feel that people who are living in these historical homes already do know the history? Do we want to be a resource for them to research the property? Some of the towns, I think it was Wellesley, had a link to, I think it was a summary of Macris that had the historical homes, what were eligible homes, and if your property was listed on that list, then you could apply for the plaque. And that was part of a link that when you're on the survey or the order form, you can link to that list and see if your property is even there. And that could be possible.
Yeah, but I don't think Macris is complete though, because I found more older homes on Bay Road than Macris had listed.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's not complete.
Well, then how would we even know if there's an interest in somebody doing some research? Would we even be able to?
Through deeds, but that would involve time and perhaps
Yeah.
cost.
Yeah. Okay. So that's still out there for a decision. Okay. Okay. the price, trying to keep it at or under 125. And then the outreach was targeting eligible properties, excuse the typo. So we can certainly do that, but it's still, but there's no really way then of targeting the properties themselves that we know are eligible. But you're also suggesting it should go to the whole town anyway.
Mhm.
Is that correct? Okay.
I think it'll be too much of a headache to try to
Sort.
sort
Sure.
it. The town will not be willing to do that, and they also won't be willing to have us look at people's personal bills. So, if they're willing to stuff them in every single envelope, then I think that's a win. And people with brand new houses will look at it and just recycle it, and that is what it is.
Okay. And when do they go out, the assessors?
So I don't know when the water bills go out.
Water bills were
bills,
paid in
quarterly.
February. Yeah, in their quarterly. I think they were due in February, right? And their quarterly.
Okay, so they'll go out in May. I don't know if we can do this in May, but we could do this by August.
Oh, actually, I have a list. Where is
Yeah,
it?
there was just a schedule that was sent out.
Yeah, I have that schedule right here. There.
Oh, it could be through real estate taxes. Maybe they'll do it that way, May 1st.
Yep. Property taxes May 1st and water June 1st.
We could probably do water. Or June 1st.
Yep.
Okay.
Hi, Brianna.
All right. So those are my questions so far. And as I get the messaging put together, I'll come back with more questions.
So Irene, are you planning on meeting with Allison to finalize things? Are you thinking maybe she could join a meeting to finalize, or?
I'm going to reach out to her and with the information about this meeting and share with her some of the more detail than I was able to share in the intro email, and get her thoughts about it. It would be nice if we can do something, a survey online that allows you to see images and comment on images, ask questions about images.
Mm-hmm.
So that people can see what it is we're thinking. And, a rudimentary design would have to be done. And that kind of brings me to another point, I guess. This seems like a very simple type of design, but then, the devil's in the details, and you get into fonts and font sizes and things like that. So is there anybody can think of that would be a designer, a graphic designer that could help us do something simple?
I mean, I could reach out to the designer who did the walking tour cover.
Oh, okay.
And the historical signs. It would probably cost us a little bit, but I could ask him if he's interested.
Okay, thanks. I really don't see it taking a lot of time, except that then every single house is going to be unique. And so it has to be sort of designed for the eventuality of any kind of character count, and as simple as a 4-digit date.
Yeah,
maybe with a circa. See. And that's it. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Irene. So since Brianna was able to hop on, I'm going to go back to the driving tour. Brianna, are there any updates, and is there any way that the rest of us can help you?
No updates other than the fact that we are in progress of building a recording studio in my basement. So that is happening. We have our space built out, and we're in the middle of insulating and getting going on equipment and things like that. So I think as far as now, we're doing pretty well. Yeah, no other updates there.
Do we have a male presenting voice yet?
I have one of my really good friends who lives in LA is a male voiceover actor, and he is from here originally. Well, not this area, but he's from Massachusetts originally. And he had said that when he visited next, he was hoping to, like, if he's home during the summer, hopefully we can get him out here to do the meal part because it's really small. So it wouldn't take more than a couple of hours. So he's willing to do it once the studio is set up. So hopefully he can do it. If not, I've got a couple of other people in mind that potentially could do it virtually because they have home studios in LA. And if they'd be willing to volunteer for something like this, they can send it, like, I guess, digitally.
Great. That sounds very promising. Thank you. Okay, use of West Street Common. Irene and Mary is not here.
So, how is Mary? She okay?
I haven't heard anything since she originally told me that she had lost her job.
Okay, so I've gone over the use of the common, and this is very straightforward. I don't see a need to change it, drastically or at all. And it certainly has I didn't notice that it had actually the certificate of insurance requirement in it for $3,000. So that's fine. That was my main concern. So we actually have an common event to plan. And a couple of years ago, before the pandemic, there was something called Friday Nights on the Common. And
Really?
a couple from who owns Ground Up, the mill.
It was the Stanleys, right? Andrea and Christian,
Yeah.
Yes.
from what I remember. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I reached out to them, and they would be happy to start it up. They've, they're like a machine. They've run it several times, and then it came to a screeching halt during the pandemic. So they're very enthusiastic about starting it up again. They need volunteers because they can't. It got to be a big, a big effort, and they don't have that time anymore. So we're meeting tomorrow to talk about kicking it off. And I have mentioned this to Jennifer at Town Hall, and she knows all about it. And she said, just fill out the application and get it in, and they know how to do it. And so I feel like this is going to be really fun. And they have time this summer to do 2 events. I think they used to do them more often than that. But we can get it kicked off with 2 events. Typically it was on a Friday night. I think it was First Fridays when they did it. It doesn't need to be. And they bring in food trucks and beer trucks. She wants to showcase Hadley, the people who are involved in food in Hadley. So they brought in ice cream, the Cook's Flavors, and Carr's Cider Mill would be invited. And they used to bring in entertainment and some music bands to play, or I think open mic type of style. And I was astounded when she said, when they got it up and running, they would get 200 people. So that could be really fun. No, and that could. It will be really fun.
Yeah, the Stanleys are they're a wonderful family, and I'm so glad that you connected with them because they have a wealth of experience. It's great.
Yeah.
So are they the ones that own Valley Malt?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it Valley Malt? I know their flour is ground up.
Mm.
The grain.
Valley Malt.
Yeah, they're
But since COVID, they've built a plant in Holyoke.
Correct.
And they've become much larger, and they're I believe they're thinking about adding a restaurant kind of thing in the plant.
She said she got a permit, a grant to build out a commercial bakery.
Yeah.
So they've hired a chef because they're making more grains, and they need recipe development so people know what to do with them, so they can sell them into the markets. And yeah, so it's exciting. I can't wait to meet her and Christian too, her husband. So that'll be tomorrow. And then, some other ideas that people have been kicking around, just to throw a couple of other things out there. I know somebody had mentioned in the wintertime, a skating rink, and I floated it out on the town website, and somebody on the select board informed me that would be a lot of maintenance and very expensive to maintain. But that was one idea. And then again, you could get the food trucks to come out and sell hot chocolate and hot drinks and things like that. So that would be fun. I know that, first of all, the Common never gets any, like very few trick-or-treaters at Halloween. And I have to think at one point it did. And I've heard, which is great, that the trick-or-treaters have kind of gone up to North Hadley.
Yeah, they're in North
because
Hadley.
it's a fun block party and it's fun for the whole family, and the parents are getting on it too. So, we don't want to compete with anything like that, but maybe an idea of having a pre-Halloween or the Saturday before Halloween, a little parade for the kids in their costumes, something like that. But once we get these food truck ideas, like system down, you could probably, run any kind of an event. Other people have mentioned.
Yeah, pre-COVID, there was a Rag Shag parade, and I'm pretty sure the police were invested in it. Then during COVID, the police were having that in their parking lot. The various people would come and they would set up in the back of their cars, they'd set up like a Halloween place, and and wear costumes and different, and they had prizes for the best design, if you will, Halloween design for the people who were giving out the candy, and the police supplied the candy. But that hasn't happened the last couple of years.
Well, I think they still do it through Parks and Rec.
Yep, but I know candy wasn't supplied this year.
What's that?
Okay.
Well, there's also the huge trunk or treat at the elementary school. Like maybe there's a way to pay back off of that because it's so close by. Maybe you could do like a parade after that or something like that when everybody's already in costume.
Yeah, Brianna, that's actually kind of what Sherry is mentioning started as the COVID drive-through at the police station, and then this year was the first like trunk or treat at the elementary school.
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. I was so impressed. It was insane.
Yeah.
Like it was incredible.
It's really it's evolved, right? But yeah, so more to come. Really,
that would be
all right, friends. I think we have diverged from the agenda.
Okay.
I love the enthusiasm.
There were two other things. Somebody had mentioned a farmer's market. If anybody, I guess again, it's celebrating Hadley and the farmers and the food. I don't know how to organize farmers markets. That would take a lot of organization, but that's another idea. And I know there was a crafts fair a while back, and that stopped. And I had heard the woman who was organizing it got mad because the fees went up. So not sure how that would work, but.
Well, I know that the North Hadley Sugar Shack always has their craft fair, and that's like pretty well run and populated. So doing something, I feel like the fall craft fair circuit is really popular, and there's so many people who want to get in on that. So I feel like that wouldn't be a hard event to get vendors for. I don't know about permitting and everything else like that.
Right.
But I think a lot of people would sign up, and I know a lot of people would go because they also have the Hadley Mothers Club does one at Hopkins.
Oh, okay. Then there might be plenty already happening, and we don't need to compete with other events. So there's that to think about.
But
based on the research that Mary and Irene did, what are our next steps? Is there anything more we need to do with the application or anything?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. I don't think, again, my concern was the liability, and it seems to be covered. And Jennifer had told me that these were put in place, I think around 2018, I think, and she's the one that did the application. And she didn't want any changes made to the application. This is a very sort of, well-run formal, process.
Okay.
And what we were asked to comment on is the first 2 pages, the guidelines.
All right, so are we feeling like we have done enough with this project and we're ready to move on, or we still need to review the guidelines and give feedback to town hall?
Well, I think they're waiting for something from us, right? To say we've reviewed them and we're fine, or if there are things to add, and that probably Mary and I can have a discussion, just wrap that up.
Okay, great.
I
So
don't know what she thinks. I'm not sure. I haven't spoken to her about it.
next
I-
meeting, let's make a decision on that, and then we
Okay.
can move on.
Are the guidelines in Google, in the Google folders, or do we?
They're on the town website, but I can also make sure it's in the Google Drive.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
All right, Railroad Street, Courtney.
Railroad Street. So I reached out to Barry Roberts, who was believed to be participating in the building we discussed at the last meeting, and he was not. But he said, I'm not yet involved, and connected me to Keith Rebane, who purchased the property. I asked him what the plan was for the building, and he said he wasn't sure yet, which I thought was fascinating.
Or he just doesn't want
And
to tell
so
you yet.
I said, I had already mentioned that I was part of the historical commission, and let him know that we are available. And I personally hope that it remains standing. So I'll let you know if there are any updates. I'll reach out to him in a few weeks just to check in.
Thank you.
I do
Okay,
have one
new-
more thing to say, Ed. So there's property for sale off of North Branch Road. And there's one property has been sold, and they're going to put a house up. And they've already drilled for a well, and they've started excavating. And I know we're talking about demo delays, but that's part of the historical landscape of Hadley. And if there's, it's too late to stop anything like that now, or the people that bought that, they've already begun. And Tommy Quinlan has said that, the plans have been approved.
But the
But we certainly wouldn't want a lot more.
The ex-building inspector.
Tom Quinlan?
Mhm.
He's the building inspector.
Not anymore.
Really?
Oh, when did that happen? He was,
Recently.
oh,
Maybe
Is
I
there
know
a new
more than
one?
I should. It's possible. No, there's not a new one yet. Maybe it's possible I know more than I should.
oh, but I was just there 2 weeks ago. Okay.
There was a select board meeting last week.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. But, when you talk about historical preservation and, preserving the landscape, and that whole area back there is, part of the history of this town, and the meadows and the honey pot, and I think we need to protect it.
Well, then I think that's a conversation to bring
With
to
Chris.
CPA, and bring to the landowners to apply for APR.
And I don't know, I haven't done the research to say how much of it is already in an APR and what parcels, but
Mary has a map of all of Hadley that's in the APR. I'm
Okay.
not sure if I have it at this moment or not. If I do, I'll copy it and send it out and put it in the Google Drive. But she does have a map that shows everything that's in APR.
Okay, good.
And Hadley has the most land in APR of any community in the state. So
Oh,
a
okay.
significant part of it is probably in APR.
Good. Well,
It's a
this
lot more.
one lot got through.
Yeah, well, a lot of them are putting the land into APR, but they're keeping out building lots for family to build on and things like that. And APR can't stop that.
Mhm.
So, and that's what happens. These families do that because four more places are going into APR at town meeting.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
42.75
Um,
acres.
I think that's something we can add to next time's agenda. But I think that also ties into what we're doing with Chris in that that is part of our next preservation steps. All right, annual town meetings coming up on May 1st. There are a couple of related CPA items, including both of the projects that Alan Weinberg came to us about, our extension on our original projects, as well as the church steeple. So I am wondering if I wrote it, if somebody on the commission who is not a church member, so that's me, Sherry, and Dragon, would be willing to read something in support of the steeple project. I'm also
Read it.
happy to get up and speak. I just think it'll be more powerful coming from somebody who's not a church member.
Are people going to get up in arms about separation of church and state like somebody did for the,
Oh, yes, you
St.
will.
John's Church? Yeah, okay.
You will, absolutely.
That's already the opposition we have heard at the most recent CPC meetings. There were a couple of people who voiced that opinion.
And
But-
on top of that,
But
these
isn't it a
four-
historic? Oh, sorry, go ahead, Sherry.
on top of that, these four his APR applications will take 40,000, well, almost $41,000 in CPA funds that will be added on to what we've already heard about in terms of the CPA. So it pushes this, what the CPA is asking for at town meeting even higher, which is
But
going to
that's
make
a
it.
different bucket than the steeple, right?
No, I don't think
Because
so.
the steeple is
It's
historical
bucket.
and APR is something else.
Right, but CPA is kicking into APR with some funds. The town isn't giving all of it. Some of it's coming from CPA. In fact, $40,927 is coming from CPA.
I
Getting added up.
understand that, but like under CPA, there's like 3 different categories that you can take the money from.
Yes, but it all comes out to a total amount at the end, no matter what.
But I don't see us as being in competition with that. Or excuse me, I shouldn't say the church is being in competition with that.
Yeah.
Since it is 2 different categories.
It is 2 different categories, but it totals, they still will be a total that includes everything.
Is there a number on the church steeple? Am I forgetting?
350,000,
350,000.
300.
But it is a historical building, so separation of church and state, town landscape.
It's the CPA funding is very specific. They can fund the outside of a religious building, but nothing on the inside.
That makes sense.
Who owns the church? Is it the church itself
The
or does
church
the
itself.
The church
Okay.
itself.
Well, is the letter going to be long?
I can make it as long as short as you want. I mean, not 1 sentence, but
I don't mind getting up and reading something, but I'm not articulate about this project or so I wouldn't be prepared to field, anybody's questions, especially hostile ones. So I couldn't say you could count on me for that.
I think we're going to have people there from the church who are ready to answer those questions. I am ready to answer those questions. I was just thinking from the standpoint of it's a little bit of a conflict of interest for me to get up and say, I'm the chairperson of the historical commission. I'm also a member of the church.
Yep.
And this is why you should support it. So that's why I'm just looking for somebody else who would be able to step into that role.
I'm happy to also step in and say I could do that. My only fear is that I continue to miss things because of family stuff. So I'm afraid that I would be like, sure, yeah, and then not be able to get to town meeting. So, but I can be like waiting in the wings. I can be an understudy or something like that. Or if I can make it, then I'm happy to do it.
Great, thank you. I will put something together. Irene, I can also give you more background information, Brianna too. this is very close to me, so I know a lot about it. And essentially, most likely, if the money does not come through, then the steeple's coming off and not going.
Oh,
Now, remind me, the church was moved from its original location, correct?
Yep.
Is it this, it's the same build? Wasn't there one and then did it burn down and then they built a second one and then they moved that one to where it is now?
So this is the third building,
The third
and the first two did burn down. And yes, it was originally on West Street, sort of where Railroad Street and West Street meet, in that northeast corner
mhm.
Like
of that
close-
intersection.
It was close to where we did the unveiling, right?
Yep.
Right near
Mhm.
there. Okay.
Mhm.
And what is actually going on with the steeple? It just needs repairs or?
So there's a main beam that holds it up, and
Yes.
it's cracked. So there has been temporary supports put in to hold it in there, but it's leaning. And so the fear is we get some more high winds and it's coming down,
Coming down through into the inside of the church?
probably,
No.
depending on
No.
which way the wind blows.
Yeah,
Jeez.
there's also concern that it'll come down on town hall.
I hit town hall. And so there are very few people in this world who are steeplejacks who have the expertise to fix it.
Mhm.
And originally, the town did approve money to fix it a couple years ago. And then when it came time to do that, unfortunately, the contractor that the church had hired was not actually licensed in Massachusetts. He was only licensed in Vermont, and the town wouldn't allow the church to use him. And they also said we need to get an engineer's report. So that's what has delayed this project this whole time. The church also got money to fix the clock. You might have noticed that that's not telling the right time. And that also got delayed because they really can't fix the clock until they fix the steeple, because they fix the clock and then the steeple falls off. That was essentially a waste of time and money. So that's why all of this has been delayed a couple of years. The church is hoping to hire the same person who just did South Amherst Congregational Church's steeple. And what would happen is that the whole steeple would be taken off, put on the ground, fixed up, and then returned. And when I say the whole steeple, it would be from under the clock up.
Oh,
It's quite the undertaking.
yeah. And you have the CPA or money to do the whole repair?
Well, that's what's going to town meeting on May 1st.
To approve that they'll give it to the church to do the repairs, but the
Yes.
town has to vote on it.
Yep.
Okay.
And this is not the first time the town has given us money to fix the steeple. I think about not quite 20 or so years ago was the first time the town went before CPA to get money to fix the steeple. And that at that point was a Band-Aid. And now this will be a total fix.
Well, we did go again, 2020? We went and got,
Okay.
and we have CPA money that is on hold that we have to keep reapplying for, because we did get money in I can't remember what year, but around 2020, that's when the building inspector, the town shut us down because of not having the right,
The engineer's report.
right, the engineer's report, or the construction company didn't have the proper licensing. So we actually are asking for 350 above the 100,000 they've already given us. So it totals 450,000.
But now here's hoping that it'll last another 200 years, right?
Right.
We've made it this long.
Churches are expensive to fix. My gosh.
All right.
Okay.
Anything else we need to talk about?
Yes, I wanted to bring up the History Lives Here signs, that we should get those up
Oh, yeah.
by May 1st.
Mhm.
Thank you
if
for
we-
remembering.
Yeah, Can we come up with like 20 locations offline that we all decide on?
Mhm.
Okay.
We're missing one from last year, right? Are we down to 19?
Oh, right. There was one missing by Mill Valley, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonder if one of my neighbors took it in.
No,
I'll
I
ask.
think it was Terry who reported it to me that it was missing.
Oh, okay. Just don't put one back here because there's so little Hadley traffic on Mill Valley. It's mostly Amherst traffic on Mill Valley.
Well, it was on the corner there of Mill Valley and South Maple.
Yeah. Yeah,
Cool.
I'll take one.
I would love to.
Oh, yeah. And do we want to do it? Do we want to do all different houses this year, or are we okay with just sticking with what we had last year?
I think we
Simple.
put them wherever people will accept them.
Okay.
I think that sounds great, Diana.
I don't want to cajole people into it because we're going to cajole them into some other things.
So why don't I just reach out to everybody who did it last year and ask if they want to do it again? And if they don't, we'll find new ones.
Mhm.
Okay, great.
Because I was late to the meeting, can I just, and I missed so sadly the meeting with Chris. I just want to ask, like, how did it go? I keep getting reports that it was really awesome, but if you guys just want to share like 2 minutes of how it went, because I am just so devastated that I wasn't there, and everybody said it went really well, but like it would just be great to hear some feedback from you guys.
It was great to spend time with the group. And we had a whole day, and it was really fun being in the van. And I thought it was hysterical how you guys go driving by people's homes. You're like, oh, yeah, so and so lives there. Oh, so and so. You knew everybody in town.
Or so-and-so who died 50 years ago,
Yeah.
but that's still how we recognize the house.
Wow, long memories here. And so that was really nice. And I don't know who that couple was that showed up for the meeting. Does anybody know who were there?
Yeah, so that's
They bought the Scott.
Shannon's parents, Shannon Driscoll, who lives 2 doors down from me.
Oh, they're her parents.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really nice. Okay. All right. They didn't stay long.
I'm
And
not
I loved-
quite sure it was what they were expecting.
Yeah.
When they reached out to me, I was like, okay, great. That's okay.
That's funny. And it was it's just very good conversation, and Chris did a great job presenting the material afterwards, and loved having Andy and Alan there. Alan from the Historical Society. And what does Andy do?
Andy's on CPC.
Oh,
Right.
okay, right. So they're very, very supportive, and it was nice to hear their enthusiasm for the things that were getting done. So that was super. And then somebody came up with a great idea to partner with another organization like the Historical Society and turn it into a preservation award, and coupled with a fundraising event. So all kind of part of building community interest and educating the community and public reach out. So that was great.
It was.
Well, thanks, Irene. I appreciate that breakdown. That's really helpful. I was just so sad to miss it, and
I know.
missed seeing you guys. We were all violently ill. Otherwise, I would have been there. We've just been sick since January, like finally better. But I was telling Diana, we spent the day at Children's Hospital for my son today in Boston. So I just got home before I jumped on the call.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he needs double eye surgery. So we're working through that, but I made it to the end. So I'm glad to be here. Anyways, so thanks you guys for doing everything you did on that Saturday. I just really appreciate that everyone had a good time, and was glad everyone could be there, and hopefully we can get the ball rolling on some other things as well.
Well, thank you for being the impetus
Yeah,
of the whole
you
thing.
made it happen.
No,
Yeah.
we all made it happen, but I'm just so glad. I'm so glad it actually happened, and that,
Yep.
you know, even if I couldn't be there, and that, you know, it went so well, and hopefully moving forward with Chris, we get some. He hasn't sent the final report, right? Yeah. Okay.
No,
All
he
right.
said he's still working on the draft and we'll get that either this week or next week, and then there'll be a little bit more homework for us to do.
Perfect. Well, I'm excited to read that and figure out what we're doing moving forward. And Diana, are you actually leaving, and when?
I'm leaving in June.
Okay.
The virtual meetings have been extended through June 2027.
Okay.
So we can continue to meet virtually. And then Courtney and Dragon have agreed to take on the chairperson duties once I
Awesome.
go. And we
Great.
will vote them in if everyone else is in agreement with that.
I'm saying
Unless
awesome,
anyone else wants.
not awesome. Please don't leave, but you know, I know
Yeah,
you have
if anyone else is available or willing, we applaud
Yeah.
every encouragement.
Yes.
Andy did film some of the tour and he told me he'd let me know once he uploaded that. I haven't heard anything. Might give him a little nudge. And then Hadley Media also filmed the afternoon portion. I haven't checked if that's up on their YouTube, but it probably is at this point. I'm not sure how exciting it will be to watch that 3 hours, but it's available if you want. And I put everything in the Google Drive, like Chris's presentation and the notes I took.
awesome. That's all super helpful. I will hopefully have a chance to watch that, because even though it may not be super exciting, I definitely want to see what happened and what everyone talked about. So that's awesome.
All right. Anybody have any updates on the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution? What's going on?
There are a lot of events, almost every weekend there's something going on in the eastern part of the state. If you go to the Road to Revolution, what is it? The Massachusetts Road to Revolution 250, I guess they're calling it, and it's the Massachusetts part of the American Revolution. Hadley's listed as one of the towns. It was a town at the time, but the last I knew, there were no, like the Farm Museum or the Porter Phelps Huntington House hadn't applied to be on the website. I was looking to see if Porter Phelps is on here now, but I can't find it because somebody said to me that they were going to put themselves on it. But so the events have already started. Right now, I've been so involved with the DAR with the Lafayette event that's happening in June that I haven't focused as much on the 250th. If you haven't heard, General Lafayette went through Hadley on June 15th, 1824, as part of it, 1825, excuse me, as part of his circuit that he made around the states that were in the Union at the time. That he went to all the states, and there's a reenactor who's doing that same route that Lafayette took and going to all the different places. And so Northampton's having a lot of events around it, or some events around it, and Belchertown got on the stick and they're doing reenactment and all sorts of things in Belchertown, even though he didn't actually stop in Belchertown. He went through Belchertown on Bay Road. I didn't get on the stick fast enough.
That's okay.
Unfortunately.
Well, is there anything that the town would want to do using the common during the?
He didn't stop in Hadley, and the
Oh, I don't mean not for Lafayette in particular, but just anything.
for the 50th. Well, see, the militia was started practicing in January of, get my dates right, 1775. They were authorized by the town to begin drilling in January of 1775. So they were continuing to drill until they got called to Concord and Lexington after the battle there. And some of the Hadley soldiers went to that scene after the battle was over. And I'm trying to find out how many of them were at Bunker Hill. I haven't found that out yet, but I know somebody else in town that's working on that too. So probably work together on it. And they're working on, the DAR is working on getting all the Revolutionary soldiers identified and do something maybe about getting a marker for those that were in the revolution.
Did they do that for the
Upstairs?
200th back, the bicentennial?
I don't think they were focused on
This
the military part of things at that time.
Okay.
Upstairs in Goodwin, the war memorial up there.
That's right too. I
What
forgot about that.
soldiers does
Yeah.
that include?
I don't know.
Okay.
Don't know.
The Historical Society would know that, right? Because that's where their home base used to be.
They would.
Oh, that reminds me. I did hear one thing from Mary that when she was last in Goodwin, she poked around and didn't find any of our records there. So they remain somewhere else. Hopefully town hall.
Probably someone's closet.
Yes.
Somewhere along the line.
Mhm.
Okay, last call for anything else.
That should be it.
All right, our next meeting date, we're looking at the 22nd, or we could push it out to the 29th,
Of May?
April or May?
April.
April.
Okay.
Pre-town meeting, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Okay,
day
so
after.
we are meeting monthly now. I feel like it was every other month and then it was not.
It is now monthly. I think we've got a lot going on, a lot of stuff we need to cover. I mean, our meetings
So-
are longer now too. So
So the 22nd is April break. I won't be around. But I can do the 29th.
It's good for me. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think I'm fine.
April 29th?
I think that'll work better for me too, yeah.
Okay, great. 29th, 7 p.m. on Zoom. All right, everybody, thank you so much. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Yep.
Do I have a second?
Second, Dragon.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.